This is the story of how I got my babysitter fired. So, I'm very well aware that this story does not make me seem good. It's a bad story about me. I look like a piece of shit. I look like a terrorist, torturous child. I get that. But here's the deal. You have to understand this. I had been through a string of really bad babysitters, okay? I'd been through the ringer. I had a babysitter who I called Miss Fat Tushy or Miss Fat Booty or something like that. And she was terrible. She was just a really bad babysitter. She did not take care of me at all. I had another babysitter who used to just make me watch porn with her all the time. Not a great babysitter, as I was a child. So I was up to here. I was up to here with bad babysitters. I wasn't taking it anymore. And then our next babysitter hired, I'm realizing now that maybe my parents don't have the best hiring process. But my next babysitter hired, I was like, she can't be bad, or I'm gonna give it to her. So this lady, Eduarda was as wide as she was tall. Eduarda kind of looked like a Jabba the Hutt. She was just a very grotesque looking human being. She had this awfully dyed red hair that looked like she took a marker and she just drew red in her hair. She babysat us, but she made us slaves. She'd make us clean the kitchen because, hey, Mrs. Feidelberg will be home. I don't know what kind of accent that was. She was Portuguese, but that accent's whatever. I'm gonna keep using it. She's like, Mrs. Feidelberg will be home. You have to clean the floor. And I decided one day, I said, you know what? If Eduardo makes us do that shit again, I'm not letting it happen. So she went downstairs one day to get the laundry. By that I mean she went to literally just pick it up, to bring it upstairs. And I decided, no longer. This isn't happening anymore. John Henry ceased to exist, and Bane Henry came out. And I just stood at the top of the stairs and I was like, home, laundry, where I learned the truth about despair, as will you. There's a reason why this prison is the worst hell on earth. Hope. Every man who has ventured here over the centuries has looked up to the light and imagined climbing to freedom. So easy, so simple. And like shipwrecked men turning to seawater from uncontrollable thirst, many have died trying. I learned here that there can be no true despair without a hope. And I slammed the door shut. I shut the light off first, slammed the door shut, tied a rope to the doorknob, tied that rope to a chair in the kitchen, and she remained down there. I understood that you needed that sense of hope in order to create hopelessness. And I would open the laundry chute door so light could sink down. And I would just throw Ritz crackers at her and say, Eduarda, you are worthless! You're worthless! You're never getting out of there! She didn't really express her feelings during this. I think she was in a time of great self-reflection. So she wasn't really calling out as I was throwing crackers down at her. But I think, like I said, she is a wise lady. I think probably for the first hour or so, she was down there like, like a skee ball machine, first thing that came to mind. Just eating them up. And eventually she had to be like, Senor, these are too much. But for a little while, she was just chomping those things. So Eduardo was down there for probably 5-6 hours. She was down there for a long time, had a lot of crackers. And eventually the phone rings, and I answer it, and it's my mother. And her question was, what the fuck is going on over there? Now, I immediately thought, I said, how did Eduardo tell my mom what's happening? There's no phone downstairs. I made sure of that. And what had happened was that, again, I had that 2-year-old brother who snuck out of the house because there was no one watching him. So my mom calls me. She's like, what the fuck is happening over there? And I said, what are you talking about? She said, where's your brother? And I said, I don't know. I'm not the babysitter. She's like, get Eduardo on the phone. And I said, that's gonna take a second. So I run back over and I yell down, Eduardo, get upstairs. And I
undo the door, I flick the light on, get Eduarda upstairs, and I was like, if you tell her what I did to you, I'll kill you. I'll kill your whole family. I'll put you back downstairs, and I'll keep you trapped there forever. And she was like, Senor, I don't know what you... I would never tell her that. I understand this voice sounds super racist. She was Portuguese. I don't know what Portuguese people sound like. I'm just trying to do my best accent. I'm not a voice actor. Anyway, she was like, Senor, why would I ever tell her? I do not want her to know that you are doing these things to me and I cannot help it. And I was like, you're goddamn right, Eduarda. You're goddamn right. She gets on the phone and my mom's like, why the fuck is my 2-year-old son running through the middle of the street? I do not know, mi señorita, I do not know. But anyway, my mom's like, she's like, you know what? I'm coming home. I'm coming home. I'll find him. And, 20 minutes later, 25 minutes later, my mom strolls in the house, Benny in her arms. And me and Eduarda we exchanged those concerned eyes that people exchange. You know what I'm talking about if you've been in any bad situation ever. We're just like, shit. And Eduarda's just like, she's looking at me and she's like, we're fucked. And I was like, no, you're fucked. A solid, sound babysitter would have said, okay, I'll chill down here in the dark and be tortured a little bit. You should watch your brother while I'm down here. Never said that for a single second. So mom comes in, she sees all this happen. Obviously, if you're a babysitter, if you get locked in a basement and one of the kids in your care runs away, you get fired. And that happened. She got fired. But Eduarda, I mean, she did love us. She would come back to our house and she would pay my mother $20 to be allowed to take us out to McDonald's for lunch. And my mother would sell us for $20 for the afternoon. $20. There were 4 of us. $5 a pop. Pretty solid deal. So Eduarda went from getting paid to watch us children who she was clearly really wrongly infatuated with. She went from getting paid to watch us to having to pay to watch us. And that's what the one thing I learned is you can never, ever let the inmates run the asylum. You can never, whether you're at Stanford University participating in a wildly famous study, or if you're in Fall River, Massachusetts, babysitting demon children, do not ever let them have control because they will ruin your life.